But yeah, welcome back, everybody. Wasn't sure if we're gonna make it to the second episode, but second episode of Built to Last. Um, we're excited for what we got going on today for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
we're going to bring the energy for episode two. We're excited to get back on here, talk a little bit more about what we're passionate about and how we can help those who need it.
for sure, for sure. The basis for today, we're gonna talk about what I believe is the foundation for a student athlete, and that's their support system. Um, I think having a strong support system and people you could rely on, people you could go to in times of need, that is as important as everything else you do. We touched on it last episode. It's it's so hard to be right on the field when you don't feel like you're enough within your own skin. And I think the people around you can definitely help you feel like you're adding that value. You have the value. You are a person. You are so much more than the uniform you put on. When you take off that helmet, you're still loved. You're still God's warrior no matter what. And I think that that's huge. And I know for me, and I think Tyler touched on it as well, we're both blessed. We have very strong support systems. We surround ourselves with good people. And I think when people tend to think of support systems, they think a little small picture. So sometimes they'll tend to think, oh, it's just my parents, it's just my siblings, it's just whoever. In reality, a support system can range all the way from, I mean, at the obvious part, your parents, but at the low part, it could be one of your teachers. It could be a staff member at this. It could be a security guard, somebody you're cool with. Like it could be whoever. And I think that is definitely an underrated aspect that we as people take for granted in the majority of our lives. For
100%.
sure.
And I think like in terms of like as athletes, like we're surrounded by a lot of noise, fans, critics, coaches, and like pressure and expectation. So like when you think of your circle, like that's the circle that's supposed to hold you down. Like that's the circle that's supposed to block out the noise, keep you grounded, remind you who you are when you feel lost or like pressure is getting to you. So um, this circle is really important and definitely helps and reminds you who you are and keeps you grounded, like I said before.
For sure. Yeah, I think it's super special to have a strong, I like to think of it maybe as like a safety net as well as that foundation because anytime you tend to spiral, tend to fall, I know the first people I go to is my circle. And when I'm seeking help, I also touched on that last episode. There was times I tried to deal with it myself, and we know how that goes. But when I'm out and I'm seeking help, the first people I go to is going to be my circle. So I like to think of them as both that foundation because they're the reason I'm the person I am today, but also that safety net. Because when I'm
Right.
falling out of that plane, that's what's going to catch me.
100%. Yeah. Too. And like also like you're saying safety net, but also think too, sometimes it's like your support system will call you out, Like sometimes you're like, okay, I'm not doing what I need to be doing. I could be treating myself healthier. I could be talking to myself in a more positive light, not like being so down. They are someone with a different perspective and they kind of can attack it in a different way and give you different advice that you might not be able to realize yourself.
100%. I think you're 100% right because I know, especially in my family, we're close knit. But we all have gone down similar paths as student athletes, and so we kind of have an idea of what's going on. So it's like, bro, you haven't gone outside and done nothing in a couple days.
Right. Like,
Don't you got camp coming up, bro? Like,
you gotta go work out. You gotta go condition.
or you better be sitting there watching film if you're just kicking it. No,
Right.
but yeah, I think accountability is it's huge, and having people you're comfortable with that it feels like you're not being attacked, but
Mhm.
they just want you to be your best you. That's also a really big piece because I know sometimes, especially when you're not in the right mindset, if somebody will call you out, they'll be like, "Oh, you've been slacking, you've been doing this, you've been doing that." It's like, bro, what are you coming at me sideways for? Like you don't know what's going on. Like I just lifted yesterday morning. Like I can only do so much, but definitely with the right people, you can tell it's coming from the right place and it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. I have like basically like a question kind of stemming
Okay.
off. So like when talking about like building a support system and having that safety net, like what advice would you give to someone else who might be a little bit hesitant to open up to their family or might not want to see or tell their friends or um, parents that they need that they might need a little bit more from them. They're not getting what they need. They feel as though they're not supported. Like how would you tell someone to go about that or initiate that relationship?
Yeah, yeah, I think that's a really good topic to touch on. And I think we can look at it from extremes, like if you're really, really struggling, or like you're just kind of don't feel like yourself, or we can just look at a medium. So I think I'll start with the medium. And I would say your family, the people in your circle, there's a reason they're in your circle. Like they care about you so much. They want to see you win. And I know for me, if I see one of my siblings down or one of my friends down, it hurts worse than when I'm down. So like for me, it's like I would way rather go to them and ask them for help. Now, at this point, I'm not saying I was always like this, and I'm not saying you're wrong if you're not like this, but I do feel like it needs to change. But I feel like if you're down, like you're not feeling like yourself, just talk to somebody. Talk to somebody you're close to. It really helps if they're close to you because that's when one, they have a better understanding for you. Two, you're going to be more comfortable in that setting. You can be a little more vulnerable. It's a little easier to do that. Um, but yeah, getting that help early on is it's huge because you don't want to be sent down that spiral I was talking about earlier. That spiral, it's no fun for nobody, and we all know how that ends. And I mean, I guess I can let that lead into one of the extremes. And just like I said earlier, we touched on it a little bit last episode, but I think I said something like, I would way rather have a conversation with you than get a phone call.
Yes, yes.
And I think that that's definitely like obviously that's an extreme way to look at it, but it's the truth. Like I
Mm,
would way rather like I can talk to you about anything.
mm.
And it's it's not easy to find yourself, but when you're talking to people that you're familiar with, people that have seen you at your best, seen you at your worst, it's I mean, you're bound to at least fall back on the right track, you know what I mean? And I'd like to turn this back over to you and um kind of let you answer your own question. Why do you think it's so important? Like especially I'm gonna rephrase it a little bit. Why do you think it's so early, especially in an early stage of what you're dealing with mentally, to go to your circle rather than wait for it to kind of pile up?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to address the issue as soon as you can. At first, you might not even realize that it could be something that could snowball into something else, but understanding that there is something that's bothering you, there is something that's holding you back from doing something that you want to do. Um, it's important that you're having that open communication. Like communication is like a big thing. Like communicating whatever it is, how you're feeling, what you think, what you don't think, how your body's feeling, whatever it is, like just communicating and letting someone else inside on you and will essentially help you, even if they might not have like the best solution to give you or the best answer or um, like even if they don't really know exactly what to say to you, but just the process of you explaining something and getting it out your chest off your chest and vocalizing what you're feeling, like that in itself will help you out a lot. Um, and I think doing that as early as you can is important so that it doesn't like build on to other things and you start bringing pressures from all different aspects of your life to one. And now you're struggling because you have like all this pressure, all this worry, all this anxiety, or whatever it is, and one that you haven't told anyone about, and now it's just like overflowing, and you can't contain it. You don't know what to do. So I think attacking things and problems as they come is really essential in um, preventing something like really really bad from happening. So
100%. And I think kind of to add on to a couple of things you said, you kind of talked about if the people will be able to give like the perfect advice pretty much. And I wouldn't go to my dad expecting him to have like the expertise of a psychiatrist. Like I don't think that like that's not what I'm but that's also not what I'm expecting. That's not what I'm going to him for. I'm going to him for some comfort. I'm going to him for some familiarity. I'm going to him for some love. And then the part you said about shoot, I'm blanking right now. Um, anyway, we'll move on. Uh, but yeah, I'd like it if you can kind of obviously you don't have to give names or anything like that, but kind of give some examples of your circle and how those people have helped you, especially in your transition from your previous school to coming to Sacred Heart.
Right. 100%. Yes. So I would say my brother, he's been like a big support system. He's a little bit older than me. So he has a lot more life experience than me.
Okay.
He also played football at the collegiate level. He's been around football, he's been around the pros, been around different things. So he kind of knows how the game is. He kind of knows what to expect, what the pressures are, what the expectations are, how it could affect you. And he kind of has been one to guide me through the whole process of transferring and entering the portal and helping me figure out where I want to go to school, making sure it's the right fit, all that. So he's been someone to that I've been able to look up to and ask for advice anytime I'm struggling, anytime I'm like questioning something I don't know, or like, is this really it? Is there something else I'm missing? Like, and he's always giving me like a different perspective than what how I view it.
Mhm.
So I really appreciate him for that. And I also have my uncle. He was like really close to my father. So they had like a lot of growing up experiences together. They had a lot of different like experiences, and but they attack problems the same way. Like
Mhm.
he like when he answers a question that I have, I feel as though he's answering it the way my father would have answered it, and
Awesome. Yeah.
that's like honestly like really truly special. So he's like every day he'll send me like a quote, just a quote, like a quote of the day, and I think I
Yeah, you
sent
sent me the one yesterday, I
you.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's the one he sent me, but every day he's sending me quotes and he's like, I'm always thinking about you. I'm always here for you. So just having people who really care about you, regardless of whatever you're doing, regardless if you're like, just regardless of whatever you're going through, he's just always going to be there. It was been really helpful and really supportive. So I would say those two in that specific
Yeah.
life. But yeah,
Yeah. That's awesome. I think just I think we kind of underestimate how easy it is to make somebody feel cared about. Um, like just
100%.
those little quotes. I think that's awesome. Like that's super special. And just because that's that also lets you know that you're always on somebody's mind. Like somebody always cares about you. That's pretty cool, bro. And I'd like you. We got Mother's Day coming up. This will
Yes,
come out probably after Mother's Day. Just give your mom a little shout out real quick.
will do. Mom, I love you. I call you Dukes, Mama Dukes. You've definitely been like when he asked me that question, I was definitely thinking about that as well. How supportive you've been, loving, caring, kind. Just give me any advice you can from what you've experienced. And, I really appreciate that. And um, you've been you've been honestly the best thing that's ever happened to me. You've been such a great support system. Seeing the way you've been able to continue parenting after losing someone you came into this with together. I know it's been challenging, but I see a lot of love and a lot of support, and I really appreciate that. So thank you, and I'm gonna say Happy Mother's Day, Happy early Mother's Day, and I can't wait to celebrate on Sunday. Cruz, you go ahead and do the same thing.
Yeah, I got a couple special ladies to shout out in my life. I'm super blessed. My mom, yeah, I can't. I mean, it's hard just because mothers. I feel like you can't thank mothers enough. Mothering is a super thankless job. Um, and yeah, I'm just so thankful, man. Mom, you've been solid for me. I know whenever I'm down, I can come to you. Always there for me, always supporting me. Never made me feel like I'm making the wrong decision or anything like that. I mean, my
Support's
grand,
awesome.
bro, it's it's special. My grandma, she's had a rough like year, 2 years, and she just keeps going. I mean, I don't know how. She's always traveling somewhere. She's putting her head down, going to work, and I appreciate that. I love her for that. And my stepmom has been so great in my life too since she came into my life. Married my dad, and I'm so appreciative for her. I feel like it's so easy when so when your parents split, you're kind of like, bro, whoever they get with, I'm gonna hate them, bro. Like I'm
Right?
giving them no chance.
That's like the first thought you have.
Yes, bro. Yes. And I'm blessed in both regards. But since we're doing the Mother's Day shout out, we'll get around to some other people. But my stepmom has been really great in my life, and I'm super thankful that my dad found that lady because it could have went really bad. I mean, and he did a good job picking, and I'm super grateful for sure. But
Awesome.
yeah, we'll get back on track here a little bit. Still diving into those systems. Um, and I think you kind of said like your brother, no matter what it was that you were doing, like you never felt like you were wrong, right?
Mhm.
And I think that's so huge. And I know my family's been the same way since I stepped away from football because I mean, it wasn't easy. And I don't think it was easy on anybody because that's also like a source of familiarity. I mean, I'd had 13, 14 straight falls where it's Cruz is suited up in pads. Like we're gonna get to go watch that. And we're lucky my brother's still doing it. So that's some consistency. I'll get to go watch him play at Bama this year. That's gonna be sick.
Awesome.
Yeah. But like never made me feel wrong, never made me feel like I was like set never even made me second guess myself. It was like I mean they allowed me enough patience to where they were gonna go with what I thought was right for me, but they also knew that they had to maybe challenge it a little bit just to make sure that's what I wanted because it's hard once you close the door to walk back into it. Um, so definitely, I think that's been the part I'm most thankful for in this whole process. Obviously, I'm kind of still going through it. I've been out of football for a couple months now, but it still feels like I was playing yesterday, you know what I mean? And so I think it's like that's probably the part I'm most grateful for with my system is just kind of how much I'm able to lean on them and know that they'll support me. I mean, I could have dropped out of school, stopped playing sports and went and flipped burgers at McDonald's and they would have been like, "Are you happy? Are
Right.
you taking care of yourself?"
Yeah,
And
that's the one thing.
if I could say yes to those two things, they'll support me. And I think that's super special because one, it makes it super easy for me to do what I'm doing. And two, I know that not everybody's blessed with that. And so I try super hard not to take that for granted, for sure.
Right. Yeah, and like to touch up off of what you were just saying, like a family, not even a family, but whoever you call in your circle, whoever is like really important to you, there's a big chance that they've known you before you started playing your sport, before you even put the pads on, before you even put the cleats on, or whatever sport it is. You know, they've known you before that. So I think their love and their support is coming from a place where they don't care really about that. They more so care about you and your well-being and your happiness. Like you said, like, are you okay? Are you happy? Like, are you fine? Like, those are the things that like your inner circle will do for you, and like that's how they treat you and that's how they attack the problems. So like they're giving you like the advice, they're giving the support regardless of the sport, regardless of the other identity that you have to yourself. So that's really essential, and that will help you keep going because it's like they're not coming from a place that like cares about like if you're ranked top five and like in the
Yeah,
state,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
You know, they might push you to if that's something you want to accomplish, or they might um like hold you to an expectation if that's what something you've been like dedicating your whole life to. But at the end of the day, it's like the love is not coming from that aspect. It's more so about if you're okay and if you're doing all right. And
100%.
so when your circle that like when talking about the circle, I feel like that's like a big piece and that's a key piece of your system and how it should be operated.
Yeah. And I actually want to touch on that because a couple of those things. The first one being, I think for me, especially when I was when I would spiral, I wouldn't go and talk to somebody. Um, and I was being pushed, it felt like my love was conditional and like it kind of depended on like what my results were on the field instead of it being like, bro, all I'd ever talked about for so long was just like how great I wanted to be. I wanted to go play wherever. I wanted to go play power four football. I wanted to win a Heisman. I mean, I wanted to play in the league. I wanted to play on Sundays. And that's what it was. And like I never questioned it. I never hesitated on it. And so my circle pushed me to do that. And I think sometimes when I would spiral and I wasn't in the right headspace, I would kind of take it as like if I'm not doing that, am I like are they still gonna love me? Am I letting them down if I don't do that? And so I think in all like I'm not saying that was completely my fault. And that was because I let myself get to a headspace to where it felt like the whole world was against me, including my circle. And like I can take full accountability for that because looking back on it, I didn't tell nobody what was going on and I didn't ask anybody for help. And I think within this, we're talking about systems. You still have to like tell them what's going on. Like just because you could have the strongest system in the world. If they don't know what's going on, it it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you have there for you. Like you can have I mean, I don't know like a super popular psychiatrist, but whoever the top ranked psychiatrist is, it doesn't they can't help you if they don't know what's going on. And I think that that's something I wanted to make aware because um I think it's too easy for people to hear about how strong a system can be and just kind of expect them to help you no matter what. When I mean they have to be aware of what's going on. They're gonna when I say they're gonna be there for you no matter what, it's no matter what you're going through. It doesn't mean no matter the situation or what they don't know what's going on because I mean they can't help you if they don't know what's going on. And then the second piece I wanted to touch on of that was kind of the identity as an athlete. And you talked about them knowing you before the pads. And I'd like to, I mean, at some point we'll dedicate a whole episode to this. I don't know how soon or late it'll be, so I'm not going to dive too far into it. But like I said earlier, if like I love Tyler as much with his helmet on as I do with his helmet off. It's not um it's nothing like that. We we as athletes, especially student athletes playing at high levels, um we kind of will put so much pressure on ourselves to be viewed in this light of just being like a superstar and feeling like if we're not like nobody cares about you. And I mean the reality of it is like no one's gonna remember what you did in a game on a Saturday in September 4 years ago. Like it's I think we put way too much on our shoulders and let our game results kind of outweigh everything else we're doing when that was 3 hours of your life. Like 3 hours? I don't know. And I know I struggled with it and I still struggle with it super bad. And I don't
Mhm.
know. I'd like you to touch on it a little bit as well, but like I was somebody where it was like I was gonna wear my emotions on my shoulders, especially if I played a bad game. It was like because I didn't think anybody was gonna really be I don't know how to say it without saying something I don't want to say, but nobody was really gonna be messing with me if like I played bad. And
Yeah.
it's like go ahead and touch on it because I feel like
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. I think that I struggle with that a lot too. I think as competitors, like we always want to win. We always want to do the best we can. We always want to perform at the highest ability we can. And I think that's the pressure that we put on ourselves. I also think that's the pressure of college sports in general. Um, like it's essentially a job. Like you're trying to play, you're trying to win, you're going every single day, workouts, all that stuff. So it's like when you put so much work into something and you don't get the results you want or you don't play the way you wanted to play, it's frustrating and all that is reasonable and that's understanding, but that can't consume your whole the whole rest of your life because that's only like you said 3 hours. Like that's only a portion of your life, and you can't really let that become your identity because you're more than just a football player. You're more than just a soccer player. You're more than just lacrosse or hockey or anything,
Yeah.
any
Yeah.
sport. So it's important to be able to separate those two parts of your life, and understand that like it's okay to have a bad game. You can be frustrated, you can be irritated. Um, it's okay, but just use that and like help you prepare for the next opportunity you can go out in the field. But don't let that be something that holds you down or changes your mindset about something or like hurts you negatively. You have to be able to compartmentalize that and understand that they're two separate pieces, and your family and your support system is going to be there regardless of how you perform on the field, regardless of how you perform on the ice, the court, whatever it is. So, yeah.
100%. And man, you said something that was like light bulb, and I could talk about this topic all day, but we're gonna kind of try to get back into systems. And so kind of as like a bonus part of the question for you, um, when you had those bad games, when you were feeling kind of like, I don't know, I don't want to say like sorry for yourself, but you're just kind of down, like you had a bad game, kind of going through it. Um, Talk about like what would have been, because I'm sure you've had experiences where you talked to somebody about it and it went good, or you kind of were just feeling sorry for yourself and it went bad.
Mhm.
And so, I mean, you don't have to explain those experiences, but just kind of describe like how much that can even just change your day, like how uh just simply approaching your system after one of those performances and how that can affect the rest of your day, the rest of your week.
Mhm. Yeah, so I think like after like performing bad, like I'm just talking generally in like all the times, like thinking about how
Hmm.
I played throughout my years of playing sports and stuff. Like when most of the times, or for me, I had a like my system would always be at the games. They would always go to every game if they could. They would go to practice or wherever,
100%.
um, and they'd be watching me. They'd be supporting me. So after, and I felt as though I didn't perform well, I kind of felt like I was letting them down in a way. Um, because it was like, okay, they took time out of their day to come watch me play. They came to support me. They came to drive however 3, 4, 5 hours to come see me, and I didn't perform my best. But I think at the end of the day, they're here to see me. They're here to see that I'm okay, I'm doing okay, and um, enjoy the time that we're with each other. So it's like I kind of over the years have been rewiring the way I've been thinking about approaching my systems after how I perform. And I'm like, okay, maybe I didn't perform my best, but I'm here, I'm alive, I'm okay, I'm healthy, and I have
Bless.
my family I can to enjoy the rest of the day with, or however many hours in the day is left. So it's like you're really in control of how that interaction goes after your bad performance. You can, like I said, you can still internalize that. You can still keep that in here and understand, okay, maybe I didn't perform the way I wanted to, and I can prepare differently for the next week or the next game or whatever it is. But it's understanding that you don't have to allow all that to carry on to the next interaction you have. Like, understand that that's not how what you wanted it to be. Leave that there and walk through the next door and interact with your family and support system, wherever it is that's there, and
100%.
wanting to see you and enjoy that time. So,
Yeah, I think you answered that like as perfectly as you could have. And kind of adding on to that, I know you said like your family, they just want to come out and see you. And I think it's seeing you do what you love. And just because, especially in football, I mean, I'm not trying to discredit any other sports or anything like that. I don't even play football anymore. But I mean, that's a 24/7, 365 type job. Like I would go to the facility, I'd get there at 6 and I wouldn't leave till 9, 9:30.
yeah,
And I mean, we're you devote so much of your life, especially in this period of time, to doing what you love. And so I think your family just wants to go and they're just supporting you. I mean, not just your family. I keep saying family, but I'm referring to system.
yes, yeah.
But those people that care about you, they just want to see you do what you love. Like you I know when I was on the field, I would kind of enter that flow state. Like half the time I'm blacked out. Like I couldn't even
Right.
tell you what happened.
No. Yep.
Um, it's like whether whether I went out and threw 4 touchdowns or 4 picks. I mean, I never threw 4 picks in a game, but
Gotta be clear. I never
thank
do
you, God.
forget it.
Um, but even if I did, it was like I wasn't gonna go to my family and they're gonna be like, "Bro, you played horrible today. Like you can't ride home with us. You better get to stepping because you're not getting a ride home."
Mm.
Um, but yeah, I think I especially for me, and I know other student athletes probably struggle with this, but we let the results of our performance kind of um just dictate the rest everything else for the rest of the day, the rest of the weekend, till we get another chance. And sometimes that could have been weeks. I mean, if it was the last game of the season, it was like, was I just gonna be a crash out till Christmas?
Yeah.
I don't know how it's gonna go. Um, but yeah, I think it's hard as people that devote so much time to not wear your heart on your sleeve though at the same time. Because like I said, I mean, if I'm at this facility for 15 hours a day, I better go out there and go crazy. Like
Right.
I better go. I mean, it I don't really know how else to word it, but it's hard when I mean, if you devoted 15 hours of your day to a test, you're thinking you better go on and pass, and if you don't pass, are you going to study again? I don't know. But it's not like I just couldn't show up to practice. I couldn't just show up, like I couldn't show up to meetings. I couldn't show up to workouts. I couldn't show up to study hall because then it's just going to get worse for me. But I mean, you can only fail the test. You can only get such a low percentage on the test. But like in the sports world, it's hard because like when you're in season, you don't get those days off. And so if you have a bad performance, it's hard to kind of regroup. And I think the easiest way to do that is going to your system and kind of expressing yourself, getting everything off your chest. Um, it's we talked about it, right? And how you can only do so much for yourself. And so I think in that same light, leaning on your system when things take a turn for the worse on the field, that's the easiest way to be able to work through that because they're going to remind you that just because you didn't play your best, that's not going to make you less of a person. That doesn't like I feel
Take
like
the
the
yeah.
easiest way I could think about it, it's like an engine of gas or a tank of gas. My tank isn't going to start leaking just because like I blew a tire out that day. My engine isn't going to stop holding gas because I'm running low on power steering fluid or whatever. Like that tank of love is still maxed out. I mean, I already filled up my tank and I'm getting the little droplets. I'm banging the thing right on the gas tank and I'm trying to get all the gas I can get. And
Right.
that's what your system's trying to do for you. They're trying to make sure that tank still stays full no matter how your car's running, pretty much. And I think that's the easiest way I can create an analogy for that. But if you kind of want to touch on that too and how your system makes sure your tank feels full when you have a bad game and maybe an example of how they do so, I think that'd be great.
Yeah. Like I said, like most of my system has been really supportive and coming to my games and supporting me. And I think like we talked about earlier, like the interaction after the game, like that's the most important thing because it's like, okay, I just, I dedicated that whole week to the game and now I have like this a certain amount of time where I can like hang out and just forget about all the other stuff and just worry about my system, like check in on them, like enjoy spending time with them. So I've been able to like kind of like remove myself from that the whole other part of my life while I'm with the support system after while I'm with my system after. Just being able to um just focus on that specific time, like be present, be where my feet are, and take one step at a time. That's been something that's been very beneficial to me. And then after, just get right back into it. But I think it's like you have certain times for certain things and certain focuses at different times, and it's important to be able um, to group them in different areas and separate the two. So,
For sure, for sure. I think that's huge, being able to have kind of that buffer between what just happened and what you're looking forward to. Because at at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to turn back time, no matter how many times you watch it on film, how many times you beat yourself up over it. You can't turn back time and make a different read. You can't turn back time and, oh, I should have filled that gap instead of going and trying to play hero and trying to go get the ball or
right.
whatever, or oh, I missed that shot or whatever. I mean, it applies to everything. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to bring this up. I saw a statistic on NCAA last night. I was kind of going through some stuff.
Mhm.
Um, and it says uh only like 40% of athletes feel that they can go to one of their coaches about what they're going through. And I think um I understand it. It's not because they want you to be tough. That's how you think about it. That's how I thought about it. Like our coaches, they want us to be tough, but those people should be in your system. And if they're not, maybe you should look at the coach you're playing for.
Right.
Because I know once I was able to open up to my coach, like I didn't have a perfect experience, but once I was able to open up and kind of he had an understanding of what was going on, it it did get so much better. And
Mhm.
I can't express enough how much I want other people to feel that they can go to their coaches because like I said, 13 hours at the facility, I'm spending more time with my coach than I am with literally anybody else. And that guy was also a stranger 3 weeks ago.
Right.
So I think we have to we have to allow ourselves to be vulnerable with people maybe that we aren't used to being vulnerable with. But the bigger your system, the better.
Yeah.
And stop short selling your systems because those people care so much about you. They want to see you be great mentally, no, as much as they want to see you be great in any other field.
Yeah. And I think something important you touched on was like the coaches aspect. And I think that's a call to all the coaches. Like say, I don't know if we have any coaches watching this, but if you are watching this, I want you to know that like a lot of people who are athletes view you as someone who could possibly be in their system. And I want you guys to take that serious and understand that you guys can really change the trajectory of someone's life and really affect them and really affect their well-being. So just being able to a be willing to open yourself up and create that relationship with your players, I think that will not only make it better for both parties, but also performance based. Like, because now you're creating trust. Now you have a different bond that's beyond the field, beyond the court, wherever you are. Like, okay, I can go to my coach about this, and he can give me proper advice and not look at me a different way. And now we have a tight relationship. And now, like when I go on the field and he says something on the field, I'm like, okay, now I'm taking this personal. Like, I'm like,
You
okay, now I can
can
use
respond
that.
to it a little better.
Yeah, because now I know I'm doing this for my going off of what I was
All right, go
going
ahead.
off of what I was saying, like being able to have a good relationship with your coach, being able to understand that like you and your coach are on the same page, you're on a deeper level, um, like off the field, not even just on the field or on the court, wherever you're playing your sport. Like that relationship will then allow you to perform better. It will create trust. It will create a stronger, deeper connection because it's like you have that connection off the field. So then when you are on the field doing the sport that you guys both love, we're both spending a lot of time preparing for it, it makes it so much better and it makes playing a lot funner.
Hmm.
So that's I think a lot of coaches need to take that serious. Take the time to build relationships with your players, understand who they are, what type of person they are. And then also too, because it seems like you're coaching them different. Like if you know a certain player doesn't respond well to this, or he has something that's been going on, you can coach him differently and allow him to understand information differently. And like that all trickles down. and will allow you to have a better team, better program. So,
Yeah, for sure. And I think you kind of hear guys be like, "Oh, that's a coach I'd really like to play for. That's a coach I wouldn't like to play for." And I think a lot of it is just how you see guys treat players and how they interact with their players. Because if I feel like I can trust you off the field, then I'm gonna trust 100% what you're calling on the field. Because I mean, really, if we're being honest, in the greater perspective, it off the field it matters a lot more than it does on the field because, like we said, that's 3 hours of our time. I might get 80 snaps in a game, so am I really that concerned about 80 snaps if I have to spend 13 hours a day with this guy? Like, I mean, just in the like scheme of things, if I think guys are going to be more prone to come into a program where they feel like they can lean on a coach rather than not, for sure.
100%.
Okay, this it's gonna sound kind of funny, kind of weird. But I kind of want you to give us like your most obscure person in your circle, like the person that seems like the most far out, like who people wouldn't think of like being somebody you might lean on, who that might be.
Um, it's a really good question. I want to think of something more recent. I would say more so like I'm talking like the part of my life, like Sacred Heart right now, where I'm at. And last August, like around the time I got injured, I would say the training staff, athletic training staff at Sacred Heart has been really helpful. I've built a lot of connections with a lot of them in there,
Mhm.
specifically Ben and Erica. I
Shout
think
out
that,
Ben Erica.
yeah,
For sure.
they've been like a key piece in my recovery. They've been a key piece in helping me stay mentally solid and locked in and um, understanding that like injuries happen, understanding that, it's all part of the process. I got to take my time, don't rush back. And I've just been able to go in there and just like debrief and just like I walk in there, I feel like it's another home. I spend a
Mhm.
lot of time in there. I don't know if it's a good thing, but I'm trying to get back on my feet, trying to do everything I can to get healthy again. So that's been a place where I feel as though I have a system. I have a group of people who care about me, care about my success, care about my success off the field too, care about who I am as a person, my goals, and what I want to do. So definitely a big shout out to them, and I want them to know how much I appreciate them, how much I appreciate how I can just go in there and just be myself and not have to worry about, necessarily talking about sports. We don't have to talk about sports. We talk about shows. We talk about
Anything.
with Trader Joe's or whatever, like whatever,
Yeah.
just random things. Like we just talk about anything, and it feels good to have someone um, I can go in and just debrief and just be able to be myself and have support and love there. So definitely.
100%. And I kind of wanted to just like just get this out, but your system it doesn't have to be like somebody that you go to and you're like, oh, I'm depressed, like I'm sad. Like that doesn't you don't have to necessarily talk about those things all the time or really at all, but as long as it's somebody that you know cares about you, somebody that's there for you. And like I mean, I'm gonna answer my own question, but mine last year, the one that just seemed kind of the most random was one of our academic advisors. I had gotten into some not my proudest moment. I got into some academic trouble. It was my first semester at home, away from home, and I really wasn't too concerned about school. I thought I was there just to play football, and that was pretty much it. And I mean, obviously, I ended up learning that was wrong, but I was able to talk to one of our academic advisors about it, and she was really helpful. She was very receptive to everything that was going on. I was super vulnerable, told her the kind of about the stuff I was dealing with, being away from home, the struggles of that, especially not just being away from home, but being 2,500 miles away from home or whatever it is. Shoot, it's probably more than that. I don't know. But it felt like I was all the way across the world.
Mhm.
Um, so like finding a couple people that I could lean on. There was some people I knew I could go to, but as far as like being the most far out, somebody you wouldn't necessarily think of, Like, and she wasn't even my academic advisor. So it was, I don't know. I think we undersell the kindness of people because nobody wants to see you struggle, whether you know them or not. And so I think being able to understand that and knowing that you can lean on the custodian, you can lean on literally anybody. Um, it's it's more about you being vulnerable and being willing to take in that help, um, than it is whether wondering if they are willing to lend that help. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah, like you were saying, like your system doesn't need to be like I feel like there's different levels to your systems
Oh
too.
yeah, for sure.
Like you can have a system within school, like a cafeteria. Like I got like one of the guys who's cooking like sandwiches and stuff, and like me and him,
Yeah.
like, we don't really talk that much. He doesn't really know much about me, but like I'm walking in, I might not have like a smile on my face. And when
Mhm.
I see him, immediately I have a smile, like, yo, what's up, man? Like, how you
Yes,
doing? Like,
sir.
it's like, you want me to cook you some extra burgers? Like, you want me to, like extra grilled chicken? Like,
Yeah,
whatever. So it's like little things like that. Like, there's definitely levels to it, but it doesn't need to be like the biggest, like, you don't need to like explore at the deepest depths of you, but like having someone there, like knowing that they care about how you're feeling, making sure that you're okay, and knowing that someone else cares about you is really a good feeling, and it's something that keeps you going. So like it's
100%.
definitely different levels to it, and you can have people where you do that and get help from different groups of people, but just having someone there, just any type of help, any type of support is beneficial.
For sure. And I'm kind of glad you said that actually. I had one of the ladies in threes. She called herself my school mom. Like,
Yeah, like
yeah, I mean, me and Dabo told her how far away from home we were, and she was like, "Anytime y'all need anything, I'm here."
I got you, right? Like that feels so good to have someone. It's like, okay, like she understands what I'm going through. She knows that like, wow, like he's not near any of his family, but like I
Mhm.
can step in and be like someone to help, even if like I don't really know him, but like I'm I'm working in a place where he comes for comfort and comes to like refuel his body and feel rejuvenated. So it's like she knows that you're gonna be in there a lot and she can make an impact on that aspect of your life. So
100%. And um, I feel like kind of just building on it. People are so willing to help. Um, like there's so much love everywhere, but you have to be willing to be receptive to it because it's kind of like what I was talking about earlier with you can have the best circle in the world, but if they don't know what's going on, they can't help you. And so it's the same way in everyday interaction with people. I mean, if you express love, you'll chances are you're gonna get it back. And if you don't,
oh well, go to the
so
next.
what? There's 1,000 of other people who are willing to show you love. And so,
Right.
I think just as not just student athletes, but people, we have to be willing to let our guard down and welcome in that love, welcome in that help. Um, because it comes in so many different avenues you would have never, bro. I didn't think my guy that sits there in threes, Ralph, he cuts up whatever they made, the chicken or whatever. That's my guy. Like he would be like, he just asked me how football's going, how I'm doing. We'd talk about when Thanksgiving came around, we would talk about what our plans were. It was like that's so special, and people don't understand that because like I mean, up until a month before I left, I didn't even know the guy's name. And we were
Right.
having conversations like that. And so I think it's so special what we're able to accomplish as people when we have open arms. And I think that's a big part of not only getting help, but having a circle that's willing to help you.
Right.
Because if it could be your mom, it could be my mom, it could be anybody. If like I constantly have my guard up, I'm not letting somebody in. Eventually they're gonna be like, all right, this guy doesn't want to help. Like I'm
Right.
gonna stop trying. And so like and I know I can't say I know, but I think maybe at one point I was that way. And I was I mean, if somebody asked me something that was constantly, oh, I'm all right, like I'm okay, I'm fine, they're gonna stop asking because I mean, it's exhausting. It's tiring when you know somebody's going through something and they're unwilling to get help.
You can't help someone who doesn't want to be helped. That's
Yeah.
something that's like, as a helper, it's like, like I know you need help. Like just let me
Yes,
help. Let me help you. Like,
exactly. And I don't know if y'all noticed yet, but I do like analogies. And so one way I would think about it is I'm not the greatest swimmer, so I'm not gonna dive into the deep end without like a life vest. And if I did and someone threw me whatever one of those tubes, um it doesn't, they could throw 100 tubes. If I don't grab onto it, I'm still gonna drown, right? So like you could have 100 of people literally sitting next to you willing to help you. But if you're not willing to let your circle help, it's all for nothing. Like it just doesn't matter. You're not gonna get better.
serves no purpose. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. And I think like touching up like one like phrase kind of talking about like opening up and communicating, I would say like I've learned over the past couple of years and just like experiences is like vulnerability, like how important that is, and understanding that your true strength comes from vulnerability. And like that's like really once you master your being vulnerable, you'll see a lot of like improvements in yourself. Like it's just like it shows like how strong you are truly because it's like you're allowing someone else to understand like what you're going through inside.
Mhm.
And like that's something that everyone holds so close to themselves. And it's like, I can't let them or anyone know like what I'm going through. Like I don't like if they know like something's gonna happen, like no, like you're allowing people to you're opening up, you're allowing people inside, you're allowing people to know what you're going to do. And that's really it's truly special.
Especially as a man too. I think like obviously the days of like just don't let anybody know what's going on. Just keep moving forward. That's in the past. And I mean, I'm sure it served its purpose at a time in that I mean, people didn't know any better, but it's over.
Mhm.
It the world we live in today with expectations and social media and everybody suppose like you see people and we all feel like we have to uphold this image. And I think a lot of it is social media. You see people flaunting everything they got. But it like going back to last episode, it doesn't matter how much you have if you're unhappy, if you're surrounded by nobody or just a bunch of yes men that don't really care about you. So I think being vulnerable as a man, it's definitely a challenge just because I mean, I don't know if it's a biological thing or just a stigma or what it is, but
Yeah, I think it's a societal stigma, like
yeah, for
over
sure.
the years. Yeah.
And it's hard when something has been upheld for so long to be able to move away from it because as a society we kind of find I think we find a level of comfort in it because
Mhm.
we're always searching for consistency and whether it's a good consistency or bad consistency, people really don't care because we all like change is more scary than anything. And I think whether it's changing the way you drive to work or changing the way you approach a day, changing your entire lifestyle, it doesn't matter. It's going to be, you're going to feel a little nervous about it. And so I think that also equivalates to opening up because it's going to change the way people see you, whether you like it or not,
Mhm.
and whether it's for better or for worse. And if it's for worse, you should probably take a look at who you're surrounding yourself around, right? Because if somebody is going to look down on you for having feelings, for one, they need to look in the mirror.
Mhm.
And for two, I would say show that person love and show them patience because they, chances are they have something they're dealing with themselves and they see themselves above being vulnerable, which is blasphemy. I mean, it's just not realistic.
Yeah.
But as we're wrapping this up, uh kind of give a shout out, maybe 10 people that just mean a lot to you that have been solid for you through everything.
Yeah. I'll start off with mom. You know, mom's been really supportive. Like I said earlier, my brother as well, both of my sisters, um, whether or not they can come to every game, they're still there. They're still calling me, checking in on me. My guys from back home that I grew up with, guys I played with at the Huntsville Prince at my high school. I know you guys are all busy, but you're checking in on me, making sure I'm doing good, following the games and things like that. My girlfriend, her family are very supportive. I'm very appreciative of that as well. Um, and even like faculty at Sacred Heart, like I said, or you even brought up too, like the financial, or sorry, I didn't mean to say financial advisor, the academic advisor, um, athletic directors, like class teachers, professors, all that. It all comes into play. So I just really appreciate everyone out there helping. Whether or not you know you're making a difference, you are making a difference, and it's very helpful. It's everyone needs a support system, and I wish I could for people who don't have a support system. I wish I could, just lend my half
Yeah,
of my system out to everyone else. But
for sure. No, and I think, like you said, like I'm also like I've said it time and time again, and I'll continue to say I'm blessed with a really strong support system, top to bottom. Starting with my parents, like I said, their significant others. They've been great for me. My siblings, like I can't I can't say enough good things about my siblings. I would I would literally do anything for them. But and that's all of them. I mean, my brother, my sister, my redheaded stepchild of a brother,
yeah,
everybody. My aunties they're always liking my stuff. My grandma's been super solid. Both my grandpas that have passed away, I could have like I said, I could have thrown 4 picks in a game and they would have told me I was Joe Montana. Like, I mean,
right.
they were I mean the greatest guys. And then it like you said, it kind of like it there's layers of it. So it kind of trickles down to even the coaches I've been lucky enough to cross paths with, faculty members, staff members, the guys over at Driveline that I was recently working with, they were great for me. So like you said, super blessed, but I wish like sometimes I wish I can lend it out to people because I see them struggling and I like if especially if they talk to me about kind of some of the stuff they're going through and the people they have around them, they just me and you were a lot lucky than most people, right? And I think that's what allows us to do this because I don't know about you, but every time before we record, I can't sleep. I know it's only been 2 times, but it's
Yeah.
nerve-wracking. It's hard.
Yeah.
We're super vulnerable, super open about some of the stuff we've dealt with, and like I said, as men, it's hard.
It
It's
is.
nerve-wracking. But I know. I mean, if one person watches it, it's probably going to be somebody in my circle, right? And so I'm
Right.
super grateful for that.
Mhm.
If I got one fan left on this earth, it's going to be like somebody in my circle, and that I think
So,
that's special. But anybody listening, if they don't have a circle, let me be a part of it.
let
Let's
us be a part
be
of
a
your
part.
circle. Yeah.
I mean, both of our socials are connected. But even if you send a message to our Built to Last account, um, comment on our YouTube, on our Spotify, anything like that, we are going to be more than receptive. And if you just want to have a conversation, we're here. Both super available, super open, and we'll be super transparent about stuff we've been through and stuff that can help you. Or if you just want to talk about anything, I mean, we've both been in situations where we feel isolated. And we don't want anybody to have to go through that. And
No.
so I think we like I would be happy to be a shoulder to lean on. Tyler would be more than happy to be a shoulder for somebody to lean on. And uh we appreciate the support we've gotten. Uh
Yeah.
we
We
got
got what, like over 20,000 views on the last one on Instagram?
man,
That's amazing.
that yeah, that real did some numbers. We got something special coming soon. So everybody, if I mean just stay tuned, giving us the support you have. We appreciate it more than we can
Really
express. Um
greatly appreciate
yeah,
it. The support, love, and
round of applause to y'all for the support.
episode 2.
Episode 2, we're
Stay
gonna
tuned for next week for sure. We got something really big planned and be exciting. So
100%. Well, we're gonna put a bow on it. We appreciate the support. Built to last, episode 2. It's a wrap.
yes, sir. It's a wrap.